Right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 15th, 2022 edition of the Yellow Springs Planning Commission. My name is Frank Doden. I'll be chairing the Planning Commission meeting tonight. And first thing we're going to do is have the clerk call the roll, please.
Yes. Doden.
Here.
Stiles.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Krieger.
Here.
Zaremski.
Here.
Also present are Village Manager Josue Samarone, Planning and Zoning Administrator Dave Swinger, and Village Solicitor Brianne Parcels.
Thank you very much. First thing I'm going to do is just briefly review tonight's agenda. First thing that we'll do is review the minutes of the January 11th, 2022 meeting. And then we'll cover any communications. Judy, were there any communications? I don't remember seeing any in the packet.
There were not.
There were not. Okay, so I guess that won't take long. Then Lisa, will there be a council report?
Yes, I have one prepared.
Okay, so Lisa will give a council report for us. Then we'll have a period for citizen comments, and this section of citizen comments is for items that are not on tonight's agenda. After that, we have currently on the agenda, we have a series of public hearings about text amendments. The first is repeal and replace Chapter 1022, numbering of buildings, amend Chapter 1226 through 122602. About preliminary plats, amend Chapter 1266 on signs, and amend Chapter 1470 on public nuisances. And after the public hearings, then we'll have a period for old business, new business, agenda planning, and then ultimately adjournment. So, any questions?
I would like to propose that we actually remove a couple of those public hearings. Denise, did you want to comment on those? We've had a few discussions over the last couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah. Chapter 1022, the numbering of buildings. Brianne, it's a pretty big document that Brianne was working with, and she wasn't able to get that ready for the packet. I think it involves some GIS and some USPS standards that need to be incorporated into it. And then we got Chapter 1226, which part of it is an amendment to the more of an administrative cleanup. This was brought to our attention a year ago by Brianne, our solicitor, who wanted us to clean that language up. And we didn't get around to it. We've been pretty busy as a planning commission for the past year. So this was actually one moment in time where we had a lull in between, and we thought, okay, let's bring some of these text amendments forward because we also had some cleanup for Greene County building regulations. But, also in this 1226 is a request by Johnny Burns to add a utilities review as a result of some issues that we've had stemming from the uncommon lots that we are allowing now. So I am feeling that if Planning Commission would be more comfortable, maybe if we set up sometime soon a work session first, that would be fine, and we could set that up. I know that Judy Kintner also suggested that we might want to consider adding some similar language, not only in the major subdivision section, but also in the minor subdivision section. And we didn't include that in this tonight. So it is a bit complex, and I want to make sure that people understand it first. So if everyone would be interested in that, I could work with Judy and set up some sort of a work session here fairly soon.
Okay, so that would just be for
1022 and
1022 and 1226.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable to me. What about what other members of Planning Commission think about that?
That's fine with me.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
same here.
I'm okay with that.
Sounds like we'd be
It's a
able to
lot
get
to unpack, right? It's a lot.
Yeah.
And there's like, I was like, we need more. So thank you.
Well,
That's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brianne,
Okay.
maybe you can just briefly just say, just do a brief overview of what it all impacts.
So for 1022, we're not changing the language very much, but there is a 123-page regulation from USPS that we tried to include, and it's down to the minutia of, east versus west versus unit versus apartment and suite, and how you even, in terms of addressing standards, we've had numbering of buildings on the books since 1987. Subsequently, we've had GIS improvements. There are first responder improvements with E911. And we are just going to be incorporating a few lines and moving that to the administrative review section, because generally it's something that the zoning official or the building regulations official does, assignment of addresses. So we're just taking the language out of the utilities code, which why it's there, who knows, but it's in 1022 right now, which is not a planning section, it's a utilities section. So we're moving it to the administrative code. As for 1226, case came down out of the 2nd District on February 5th last year. I let Planning Commission know about it February 9th and said, look, this is going to impact us because they were applying the ruling in West Aleski versus Broadview Heights from 2019 out of a Troy Planning Commission case, and that involved preliminary plats. So we do need to look at updating our subdivision regulations, because the Wesolowski ruling said subdivision regulations are an exercise of police powers. Therefore, home rule does not apply, and the village and every municipality in Ohio has to go by RC 71109. So if
Brianne.
anyone watching wants the citation, it's 2019 Ohio 3713, and the Hawk case is 2021 Ohio 327.
Brianne, can you explain how this is a police power? I'm sure there's an explanation, but it doesn't seem intuitive.
Sure. A lot of people get confused on police powers. Police powers mean they're general rules throughout the state of Ohio that you're exercising for health, safety, and welfare. It doesn't mean that it's police department regulation, but it means that it is something that should be consistently enforced statewide for health, safety, and welfare.
So, but does anything
versus a matter of local government, which would be subject to home rule.
does anything that relates to health and safety have to be is a police thing? Because the nuisance code that's in here talks about health and safety, too.
Right. The best thing I can do is actually send you the primer on police powers from the Legislative Service Commission, because it gives about a 4-page explanation of what's a police power and what's not when it comes to municipal governments. So I will include that for Judy to distribute to all of you. And I'll ask Judy to put it on the village website as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I guess that going back to reviewing the agenda, so we'll just be talking about when we get to the public hearings, we'll just be looking at the amendments to Chapter 1266 signs and Chapter 1470 public nuisance, right?
Yes, and then everybody's in agreement with the work session.
Yeah.
We can catch that at agenda planning at the end. I'll catch you folks for some general timeframes, and then I'll email folks to get something set up. Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. All right. Okay, let's move on to review of the minutes from the January 11th, 2022 meeting. Very short meeting, just 2 pages of minutes. So are there any from Planning Commission? Are there any changes or corrections necessary on page 1? What about on page 2? Nothing. Well, and then I will move that we accept the minutes.
I second it.
Okay. And would the clerk call the roll, please?
Yeah, Zaremski,
Yes, accept.
Thank you. Stiles,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes,
Doden.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and there were no communications, right? Which moves us on to the council report. Lisa, ready?
my pleasure. Yes.
Thank you.
So the most notable activity was certainly related to the planned unit development, which did not pass on a 2-2 vote on Monday, February 7th. I do want to take the opportunity to thank the staff, Denise Swinger, Johnny Burns, and the village manager, Josue Salmarone, for their seriously tireless work on this PUD. And I understand that others I didn't name also contributed efforts, and I thank them as well as the many community members who have spoken up either before that vote or after the vote. We certainly have heard from a lot of you. I also want to thank the members of Planning Commission who worked on the proposal. And I want to say I'm sensitive to the sense of loss that some might feel that can come along with this outcome after such an intense work investment. And, just want to acknowledge that. There were other items in the manager report that seem relevant to Planning Commission. A couple of them are related to grants. And Josue, please tell me if I'm incorrect on any of this. So as I understand, there was are you ready for it? $1.2 million grant for a water project that the village had been awarded that to replace 2-inch galvanized water lines in the village. And that this is to the point that the RFP for engineering was already released and some bids have been received. And additionally, there was another grant secured for a stormwater system along Dayton Street in the amount of $439,000 plus a little money. And that's another big one. So the engineering for that system will be completed within the month. And I think the other thing that was cool to me was that in accordance with the Dig 1 policy, there will be conduit for future electrical work that's going to be installed during that project. So, thank you, Josue, and your team for your work, because this is big money. This is really important money that we wouldn't be able to secure if it wasn't for the grant writing expertise that we have in our team. So, thank you. Couple of other things about the Lawson Place apartments. The village closed on the Lawson Place apartment property on January 14th. And the team has already implemented a short-term property management strategy. For the time being, the rents aren't going to be increased. They'll remain at the same rate. But there'll be a proposal brought to the council that'll be kind of a holistic thing, including such things as a rental rate change, rental agreements, and background check requirements. And additionally, the village completed the purchase of the entrance to Keith's Alley of Corey Street. That closing took place on Wednesday, December 15th, and the replatting of those alley lots is in progress. On a personal note, I have, because of my day job, because COVID rates are going down, my business travel expectations are ramping up like crazy. And business travel with evening commitments that I can't get out of will make it impossible for me to attend the March meeting. So Council Member Carmen Brown will attend that meeting and provide the council update. And I thank you, Carmen. I see that you're here on the meeting tonight. So thank you for covering me. And that concludes my update.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Oh, yeah. What was there?
Oh, no, I just absolutely.
Okay. Welcome. All right. Now we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the period for citizen comments. And again, this is for any comments that members of the public have for any items that are not on tonight's agenda. So if you'd like to make a comment, you can electronically raise your hand. I see at least one person doing that. And the host of the meeting, I believe Judy, will let people in to make comments. So who's first? So, Sarah?
Sarah.
Can you hear me, Frank?
Yes.
Okay, it's Sarah Sinclair, and I'm a resident. I just want to first thank Denise for being willing to take the time to make sure we can all understand the changes that are being proposed. I was also wondering if the next time this comes around, can we have more than 4 days to have a look at it? I know Xenia does 15 for, text changes to the code. That's it. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Any other citizen comments out there?
Just a question, Denise, do you want to respond to that timing issue?
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's the same. It's always been the same as it is with council too. I mean, the packet's put together the Friday before the meeting. So typically council gets their packets sometime on Friday for a Monday meeting, and planning commission gets their packets sometime on Friday for a Tuesday meeting. To do that any sooner would be problematic for staff. We'd have to go in and change the zoning code as well and make people have to submit their information even sooner than they do now. Because right now for like conditional uses and things like that, they have to have it in 20 days ahead of the meeting. And in that 20-day period, that's including weekends, staff has to take that, review it, write a report on it, create a sign, write a public notice, make sure it gets into the Yellow Springs News 10 days ahead, and then also send neighbor letters out. So it's a lot to do, and we need, that's the fastest we've been able to do it. We would literally have to go and make everybody submit things much earlier in order to change that. So I don't know if council wants to entertain that. I'm not gonna offer it. That's something that would have to be discussed by council because it would change their whole timetable as well.
Denise, could I give you a little information?
Just to respond specifically to the issue of text amendment.
Yeah.
Text amendments obviously don't need the notice requirement, but those show up in the paper 2 weeks ahead. And so that gives you ample time to look up those code sections should you wish to do that, because those are listed in the paper several weeks ahead of time. You just wouldn't have access to the staff reports and those other pieces of the packet.
So Judy, so I understand the proposed changes to the text. Oh, sorry, it's Sarah.
Oh, okay.
So just to clear, so the proposed changes to the text amendments, not just the code where it's going to be changed, but those proposed changes are included?
Well, usually I give a description in the public notice as to what's going to be amended, but you wouldn't get that until Friday.
So I mean, just for reference, just so you can see where I'm coming from, Xenia has it where just if they're doing the text changes, they release it 15 days, not anything else, not any of the other changes or anything. Everything else goes the same way. But that way people have ample time to look at the proposed changes because they are so important, to the community if you're changing the ordinances.
So folks, maybe you can add that to the work session agenda and decide if you're interested in looking at that or not.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Looks like, is it Kelly?
It is.
Okay.
Hi, I'll turn on my,
Hi.
I can see all of you now. You can see me too. So I'm very new to all of this, so I'm going to have to defer a little bit. So I just wanted to clarify something for myself. So Denise, you were saying that there just seems like there's a backlog of a ton of work that we have to do leading up to reviewing these ordinances. Am I clear on that? So the thing that you would have to do is ask for it to be submitted earlier. Is that like, so there'd be like an external like body submitting it earlier to the planning commission? Did I get that right?
No, it would be,
Okay.
everything comes, okay. So everything comes to me. So you
Yeah.
have to change it in the code that we would need your amendments.
Yeah.
Or whatever right now it's 20 days. Amendments usually come from us.
Okay.
Or they come from someone in the community who wants to have something amended. It can be either a text amendment or a map amendment. I'm just saying that would have to be pushed back further.
Yeah.
In time, submitting it earlier.
I think honestly, that's just a huge mountain of work for you all. I'd like to see them have to submit it earlier to you so it doesn't have to be such a rush. So I thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, well, but on the flip side of that is we try to accommodate people here in the community that really put something in. And for someone, if you push it back 30 to 45 days and they miss that deadline, they could be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
And it messes up their projects, whatever.
Yeah, I understand. It's a lot of things. Okay, well, thank you so much for explaining it to me more.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Any other citizen comments? Saying anything, Judy?
I think you're good.
Okay, all right. Well, then we'll finish with citizen comments then, and we'll move on to our two remaining public hearings, which is first, I guess we'll look at amend chapter 1266 signs. Denise, would you like to talk about this a bit?
Sure. So as everyone knows, we have our own building department now, but we have throughout our zoning code, we have references to Greene County building regulations. And so this is a cleanup of the text. On page 10, it's just changing the signs permit must be submitted to Greene County building regulations to a building permit shall be submitted to the building official. And then on 126609, 2, striking out Greene County and the word regulations, and we're replacing keeping building official. So the text would read, all signs from which a permit has been issued shall be inspected by the building official when erected. Same with section C2, just striking that out. We're replacing Greene County building regulations official with building official. And that's it.
Okay. Right. Any of the members of?
Oh, yeah, that was it. Sorry.
Okay. Any members of the Planning Commission have any questions about those changes? All seem.
This is Lisa. I don't really have a recommendation, but I'm just wondering, drawing on there's a lot of expertise in this virtual room, a lot of Planning Commission experience, and a lot of experience reviewing proposals. And I'm just wondering, is there anything that's in this that we would want to take the opportunity of updating to make it, Yellow Springs oriented while we have the opportunity, or based on the experience of this team? I mean, this is the implication, Denise, presumably, if you had another, like, oh, but this could be cooler, this could be better, that you would have taken this opportunity. But I just want to weigh in on that to be certain that there isn't something else.
I've never had anybody be that excited about signs. so we have made a few changes to it. Actually, I think it's a pretty generous sign ordinance because we've changed language over time that really allow, especially if you have multiple tenants in a building, or you have like a a parcel, say Millworks is a good example where there's lots of different buildings. We kind of changed the requirement for, we allow for more signs in those areas. And then, and if it's not a sign that's visible from the street, we carry even less. So, I mean, I think it's pretty generous. And ultimately, if you have to, you can always go for variance to the number of signs. So.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. I was just kind of doing a dig once philosophy, Yeah,
I mean, unless people really wanted to reverse their thinking and wanted to have more glowing illuminated signs and things like that, or okay.
The opposite of that.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
And the changes that you're making, that we're looking at tonight, are driven mainly by the fact of our own building department, right?
Mhm.
And just getting
we're just
the
taking out the
language
Greene
of our,
County reference.
right.
So I had a question. It seems a little awkward to say just building official. Should it be Yellow Springs building official? I don't really know what's typical or whether that's going to cause any confusion. So.
Yeah, the building official applies no matter whether we have our own building official or, 10 or 15 years down the road, if we contract with Greene County again. If we just say building official, we're covered either way, so we don't have to amend it again.
And that's not confusing. Somebody reading this and trying to comply with it would understand.
Yes, because you harmonize the code with the building official section, even though we're not inserting like actual references to our building department code. Building official is a standardized term under Ohio law, so the building official knows what it means.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Any other questions or concerns from any members of the Planning Commission? All right, well then I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If there's any members of the public who'd like to comment about these proposed changes to Section 1266, please raise your hand electronically or physically. Get our attention one way. I'll give you a few seconds to chime in. I don't, you seeing anybody waving their hands, Judy? No?
If not.
Okay. All right, well then I will go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to Planning Commission. Any additional? Hearing somebody's audio.
I was in the worst relationship of my life.
I think
Matthew Kirk is coming on.
Matthew, yeah, oh yeah, he just got muted now, so okay. I think that was the audio that we were hearing. Okay, any members of the Planning Commission have any questions? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion on this?
I move we approve the changes to section of chapter 1266.
Second.
I'll second that. Okay. And would the clerk call the roll, please?
Indeed. Zaremski.
Yes.
Stiles.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Doden.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Right now we'll move on to the amendments, proposed amendments to chapter 1470, public nuisances. Denise, would you like to talk about that?
It's the same thing. It's 1470-03. We're just making it building official instead of the chief building official of Greene County. We're just making it building official.
It's just that one change?
It's just that one change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any members of the Planning Commission have any questions about this one? Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If anybody has any comments about this change to chapter 1470, please raise your hand. And not seeing any hands raised up, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to Planning Commission. Any questions or concerns now?
Okay. Do we use this a lot? I'm just fascinated by the detailed process that you have to go through to find out whether something is a hazard, and all the different people have to weigh in on it.
We've used it a few times. I know Josue's had to use it a couple of times. It's a public nuisance requires two other entities to agree with it. Use like the fire department, the building department, the health department. At least two of those three entities have to agree with the village that this is a public nuisance. So it's not like something we can just do ourselves.
Declare. Right.
Yeah, we can't declare it ourselves.
Stephen, are you interested in changing that to just me?
It's fine with me. I don't.
I'm kidding.
It's usually complaint driven, isn't it?
Yes, some of it is complaint driven, and the complaints give you a more tangible example that's happened recent. It's tenants having dispute with landlords, and we have to assess the safety of the facility. So we've had situations where they're tenant complaint driven, or they're public safety oriented. We've had repeat calls to a facility, and we need to assess the conditions of the home or the establishment to ensure the safety of those that are residing there or visiting in this space. Sorry, that was a bit vague, but typically there's a complaint associated with an investigation.
Any additional questions? Or it's okay. I'll move that we accept the proposed change to chapter 1470.
Second.
Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Yes, Krieger,
Yes.
Stiles,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Zaremski,
Yes.
Doden.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that gets us through our public hearings. Anything on old business? No? New business?
Well, for agenda planning, I have, I would expect that Over will be coming with their major subdivision for the March meeting. Now, you know, because council is on the same day, it's like the day before our second Tuesday, that we're going to push it again, like just like we did this month. So we'll be meeting on the 15th of March. Yeah.
Planning Commission?
Yes, Planning Commission will meet on the 15th of March instead of the 8th. Yeah.
So, hey, Denise, is there a way to have the dates for the whole year, just so I don't plan vacation or something?
It's on the website and in the paper, and it's on WYSO.com. I mean, I can send it to you.
No, if it's on,
And
if it's on
Judy,
the
I thought you
website, I
had
can
sent
find
it
it.
to us.
Maybe I did.
I think you did.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
And then I'm Rose Pelzel is submitting for a farm for her property on South High Street. She's wants to have her chickens and her bees and things like that. So she's going to be coming to Planning Commission for that.
And I think I will have to recuse myself because she will be my neighbor.
Oh, right. Okay. And then we also have a application for a transient guest lodging. And this one, with the new rulings, they're not within 500 feet of another one. And they are not, they would be operator occupied. They're just gonna look at renting out when they're not here. So we'll be reviewing that, I suspect. So those are three items for the agenda. And then if we get this work session, we might be bringing these other two back.
Can I?
This is Lisa. In light of me not having my calendar together, I can attend the meeting on the 15th. So I will be in attendance. I will be in attendance. Okay. Thank you, Carmen, for offering to cover. I still had it on my calendar for the 8th.
So we talked briefly about a work session. I think that it might be a very good idea to have that work session prior to you needing to hear that over a preliminary plat, because obviously there are a lot of questions around what code are we following and how are we doing that anyway. I mean, I think that those are going to overlap so that you could go into that meeting quite well prepared if you're able to fit in a work session prior to the 15th. And I guess obviously I'll send things out, but in general, are folks able to meet during the day, or is that just off the table?
I can
Most
meet during
days
the
are,
day.
yeah, during the day is fine. Difficulty, Wednesday mornings are difficult for me. I'm making croissants.
And that's important.
I'm not making bread, but Wednesday mornings are also out for me.
Thursday mornings are out for me.
Yeah, this is Lisa. The week of the 28th through 4th, we're doing police interviews. However, in early evening, like 4:30 or 5, would work for me on those days, or at or after 1 p.m. on Friday the 4th. I'm going into that level of detail because I'm out of town the 6th of March through the 13th of March. And that's that business trip that was going to be blocking me from participating.
Okay.
So if it's falling to that week, the week of the weekdays of the 7th through 11th, then I think I would need to call on my alternate because I couldn't come to the working session. And it would be better if the person who came to the working session sat the meeting where the topic was discussed.
Okay. All right.
I'm relatively flexible all through the period during the days.
Okay, I think I got it. Stephen, did you give a general?
I'm sure there probably may be some things that are better than others, but if there's a couple of choices, I'm sure I can make some of them work.
Okay, I'll float some things out there and we will begin the Jello herd.
Okay, anything else on new business or agenda planning? All right, well, I think we may have set a record for the shortest planning commission meeting in recent memory. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
All those in favor just say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, nay. All right. Planning commission meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.